What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Got some major news for you guys in this video. A major decision by the Fed will affect millions of Americans this week and your money and pocketbooks. I'll give you guys the details on this. Also, President Donald Trump issues an ultimatum to fellow NATO countries. I'll give you the details on that as well. This comes as Russia has basically sent a drone swarm into NATO countries. And I'll give you the details on this and why this is a major concern and a World War III threat. And NATO, which is the United States is part of NATO, is currently scrambling against Russia right now. And I'll give you all the details of it in this video. It's wild. So let's jump right in. We're live right now here on the YouTube It's Jimmy Show. Let me know if you can see and hear me. Type yes in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. You can let me know your city, state, or even your country, as we have people tuning in here from all around the globe. Don't forget to hit that like button for me here. And if you haven't yet, subscribe down below so you don't miss out on future videos. I will keep you up to date here on the YouTube It's Jimmy Show. Take a look here. First up, from the Fed and the Federal Reserve, are interest rates coming this week here? Actually, within a matter of a few short hours, actually, potentially less than 48 hours here, are interest rates coming this week from your boy, Jerome Powell, the Federal Reserve Chairman? Will we see a major announcement? Potentially, after 9 months of standing pat, the Federal Reserve may offer some interest rate relief here on Wednesday. The open question is, what hints are on the offer about what comes next? This comes as rapidly deteriorating job growth has solidified support for a quarter-point interest rate adjustment among Feds. People are hoping. Will the Fed lower interest rates? Let me know your thoughts here. Yes or no? Type in the comment section. Do you think interest rates will finally be lowered here in 2025? There's also some hopes of a supersized rate cut, which could be a significant larger interest rate cut coming here, which would provide even larger interest rates being lowered in the form of lower credit card interest rates, lower home loan interest rates, lower refinance interest rates, lower car loan interest rates, lower lease interest rates, personal loan interest rates. So these interest rates affect everybody. They also affect the government, which is paying about $1 trillion per year in interest alone. So there's a lot of people that want lower interest rates. So will we see dramatically lower interest rates, slightly lower interest rates, or will they stand pat and not lower interest rates at all? As some of the Fed presidents are potentially going to vote to not lower interest rates, like Kansas City Fed President Jeffrey Schmidt and St. Louis counterpart Alberto Mussolini. They're saying, quote, the vote to ease policy and interest rates is unlikely to be unanimous. And a divided committee means the policy statement will remain terse, giving little about the timing and extent of further interest rate easing. This comes as new job numbers in the United States showed steep step down in job growth, which President Donald Trump was not happy with, so much that he fired the BLS commissioner because of the reportings. And Governor Adriana Kugler announced she was stepping down due to pressure as well. And Trump is not happy about several things, particularly what is going on with the Ukraine-Russia war and Vladimir Putin just basically defying all calls for a peace and truce announcement. Trump has actually issued an ultimatum for fellow ally NATO countries and to produce Russia sanctions against Russia. President Donald Trump issued an ultimatum to fellow NATO allies in a letter saying the U.S. will issue major sanctions on Russia only when fellow NATO countries agree to do the same and stop buying oil from Russia as well. Wow. Trump said, quote, "I am ready to do major sanctions on Russia when all NATO nations have agreed and started to do the same things. And when all NATO nations stop buying oil from Russia," he said in a post to social media, quoting what he was said in a letter to his NATO counterparts. "As you know," President Trump says, "NATO's commitment to win has been far less than 100%, and the purchase of Russian oil by some has been shocking. It greatly weakens your negotiating position and bargaining power over Russia. Anyways, I am ready to go when you are. Just say when." He also called on NATO countries to significantly ramp up tariffs on China in a show of force, saying, quote, "I believe that this, plus NATO as a group, placing 50% to 100% tariffs on China to be fully withdrawn after the war with Russia and Ukraine is ended, will also be of great help in ending this deadly but ridiculous war." Trump added that Russia's war in Ukraine would end quickly if those steps were taken. This comes as the UK is flying Typhoon jets over to Poland to join defense missions after Russia literally just sent drones into NATO territory, which has many people very concerned. British fighter jets will fly air defense missions over Poland as part of NATO's defense mission after Russian drones were flown over NATO members, Romania and Poland, two NATO countries that Russia, one could say, invaded with attack drones. The Prime Minister says, quote, "Russia's reckless behavior is a direct threat to European security and a violation of international law." The Kremlin claimed that NATO was already fighting Russia through its direct and indirect support for Ukraine. Russian spokesman Dmitry Peskov said NATO is providing direct and indirect support to the Kiev regime. It can be said with absolute certainty that NATO is fighting against Russia. Russia breached the airspace of Romania with a drone in the early hours of Sunday. The country's defense minister scrambled two F-16s to shoot them down. Yeah. Days earlier, Poland said it shot down at least 19 Russian drones. And with Russia flying attack drones into NATO countries and NATO airspace, this is, some people would say, a direct act of war. And NATO literally had to scramble fighter jets to shoot them down. And you got to admit, peace talks with Vladimir Putin are not going well. They're surely not, the war surely hasn't been ended on day one of President Trump's presidency. And look at where we are now. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section. Also, check this out. There is some groundbreaking cancer research that has come across my desk called PalaRiorep. It's a first-in-class non-pathogenic oncolytic virus that can be delivered intravenously and works by generating, recruiting, and training immune cells to recognize and kill cancer while remodeling the tumor microenvironment and enable immune cell access. Pretty interesting. In addition, it's demonstrated single-agent activity. PalaRiorep can also work in synergy with chemotherapy, immune checkpoint inhibitors, known as ICIs, CAR T-cell therapy, proteasome inhibitors, bispecific antibodies, and CDK4/6 and PARP inhibitors to enhance its anti-tumor potential and meaningfully extend patient remissions. This is where it gets really interesting. In non-cancer cells, Palareorep enters the cells but is unable to replicate, and the virus is actively cleared. But in cancer cells, Palareorep selectively replicates in permissive cancer cells. Upon virus replication, cancer cells die, releasing additional virus particles to infect nearby cancer cells. And normally, cancer cells would evade immune detection by signaling to the immune system that they do not need to be destroyed. However, Palareorep's intravenous administration enables it to work systematically to unmask cancer cells, thereby allowing the immune system to identify them and target them for destruction. In a recent randomized study, when Palareorep was added to a standard metastatic breast cancer treatment, overall survival rates nearly doubled in a randomized study of patients with HR+ and HER2 breast cancer, which in my opinion is amazing. Now, this technology is coming from Oncolytics Biotech, which is ticker symbol ONCY on the NASDAQ. This recent data has helped propel it to, in the last 6 months, their stock is up over 103% at the time of filming, which in my opinion is absolutely amazing. And they're just getting started, as you can see from these headlines. Oncolytics Biotech highlights strong efficacy and translational data in metastatic colorectal cancer, will advance regulatory pathway discussions. And Oncolytics Biotech provides updated clinical safety data for Palareorep, including across multiple gastrointestinal tumors. So Oncolytics Biotech, stock ticker ONCY, is something you should definitely look into. As you can see here on the screen, the stock is up over 100% over the last 6 months as the time of filming. As always, do your own due diligence, and thank you to them for sponsoring this video. Share this video with anybody that needs to hear this information, and make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on future videos. I will keep you up to date. Click here to see Trump's latest announcement that will affect millions of Americans. Thanks for watching, guys.